Hey, Teddy K here for Best Buy Plugin, and in this video review we take a look at the Microsoft Surface Go. This is a 2-in-1 laptop and tablet that runs Windows 10, is small enough to easily carry around, and made to be productive. If you're familiar with Microsoft Surface line, you may find the Go an interesting addition. Not so much because it plays in the high end, but because it plays in the lower end. It's actually more of an entry-level product and tries to be more tablet than laptop, but you can use it in both ways. I'll start off more with things that I didn't particularly like that much. So for example, the Go runs on Windows 10 S mode. So S mode is essentially a pared down version of Windows in the sense that you're kind of locked out from installing apps through a web browser. So let's say you wanted to install Google Chrome as your web browser, you can't really do that if you're running on S mode. Thankfully, Microsoft managed to allow you to get out of that if you want. So you can get out of S mode, install a version of Windows 10 Home, and then you open things up. And frankly, as long as you're running an antivirus on the platform and you're being careful when you're browsing, you're not doing anything too stupid, you're going to be okay. So even though Microsoft has S mode out there for security reasons, I think if you're smart, you'll be okay. One caveat to that though is that once you do get out of S mode, you are out for good. There's no way to go back. So it is one of those things that if you are going to go through with it, you want to be sure of it. For battery life, it's not especially good. It's about 6 hours, I would say, with mixed to moderate usage, and even heavy usage, you might be able to get close to that number, but it's basically not going to be as high as typical 2-in-1 devices now are, especially on the tablet side. So it is something that you have to consider, and this battery life kind of goes with both the 128 gig version of the Surface Go and the 64 gig version. So I don't know that there's any real difference there. I tested the 128 gig version in this particular case, and that's typically what I found. So whether I was playing video or I was word processing, whatever it was, I usually wasn't going that much higher than 6. I might go a little bit higher if I was just doing word processing, but it wasn't going to go higher than that. All that taken into account, the device still is very nice. I actually grew to really like it. I mean, it's light, it's lightweight. The screen is nice. It may not be as vibrant as some competitors. And yeah, okay, the bezels are a little thick, so it may not look as nice in some ways as some of the competitors, but I found it a really nice device to have. More so than I actually expected, because once I saw the specs, and once I started experiencing things like, with the battery life and so on, I thought, okay, well, maybe I won't. But ultimately, I actually came away thinking pretty positively of this. However, I do want to add a caveat to that, and that is that storage is going to matter a lot, I think. So if you're contemplating between the 64 gig or the 128, opt for the 128. That extra storage is going to make a huge difference, especially if you plan to add apps from a web browser. So if you're not going to stick to S mode, especially go with the 128. I would describe the Surface Go as the kind of device that can do a lot of things fairly well, but not anything that's going to be really taxing on the system. So for example, word processing, no problem. PowerPoint, no worries. So anything Microsoft Office, not a problem. You want to edit a few photos online, no issue there either. But if you're looking to do video editing, if you're looking to do, serious projects where, you're going to need some heavy-duty graphical power and even processing power, you may run into some problems with this. So just bear that in mind. Now, if you're doing something that's really artistic, really creative, and really needs a lot of juice behind it, I don't know that the Go is going to be good enough for you. That mix of productivity and consumption is something that always looms over the device. I found an interesting way that this was a device that had to make the case that it was a consumption device. More so because Surface devices are known to be productivity, right? Because they're running a full version of Windows. But here, I kind of found like the productivity sort of went after the consumption, because watching Netflix and just watching video, YouTube, whatever, was really easy on this. It was not a problem at all. You can even take photos with this. So that part of it seemed to work okay. The productivity side was limited, again, like I said, only based on what I was trying to do that wasn't too taxing. So most tasks were okay, but the really heavy duty ones, not so much. And that goes for gaming too. I mean, if you're looking at this as a gaming device, think casual, and that's it. Unfortunately, the keyboard and the pen are not included in the box. This is a familiar thing with Surface devices, and unfortunately it continues on. I would have liked to have seen Microsoft include at least the keyboard in this. I mean, if you're going to make the case that you want to be both productivity and consumption to all people, why not just have both in there? The keyboard itself isn't bad, it's just that it's smaller, so the keys are the same size, but they're actually a little bit closer together. So even though you have a full-size keyboard, it's not going to feel like it's full size. I noticed that when I was typing. Actually, I typed the review for this on the Surface Go, and I made a lot more mistakes than I normally would have. Part of that is because I needed to get used to the keyboard, but also because my fingers would land where they would normally land on a regular size keyboard. They were just landing a little bit differently on this one, again, because of the proximity of the keys to each other. All in all, I would actually recommend the Surface Go if you're looking for a Windows-based 2-in-1 device at a more affordable price. You're going to have to accept some of the trade-offs, and the battery life is not going to be great, so bring the charger with you in most cases. But I think you'll like the combination of features here, especially if you go beyond S Mode and are responsible when it comes to downloading other apps. And that's my review. For Best Buy Plugin, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.